Hello everybody and welcome back to Green Over Tarot. My name is Ivy and in today's video we are doing the astrological walkthrough for January. So this is just kind of like the, I guess the important things, so the ingresses and the lunations and things like that. I do daily Astro Talk on my Instagram page, which you can check out in the description below, but here we go with January. So January is not a bad month overall, honestly. It is not a bad month overall. It's a pretty good month, especially in regards to getting things done. Okay, so starting off today's video, we're going to start off on the before I start, so everything I'm talking about is in New Zealand Standard Time, so just don't be afraid to check and see where that is happening in where you live. So for some of you, these will be happening the day before, or the day before. So I'm ahead of, like, if you live in America, I'm like a day ahead of you. So yeah, just kind of check depending on where you live. It may happen on a different day, the day before. Just so you're aware. So the first thing we're going to talk about is happening on the 7th of January, and on the 7th of January Mars is going to ingress into Taurus. Not a bad thing, to be honest. Mars has been sitting in Aries for at least, for over 6 months now. So he's ready to get out of there. He's ready to move on. He's ready to get going. So moving into Taurus, this is really stable energy. Taurus is stable energy here. So when Mars, the planet of drive and ambition and action, finally goes into something a little bit more stable, this is really good. This is a good energy to get things built, to get things done, right? And just kind of going for it, So I really don't mind this energy, especially with kind of like how the end of 2020 went with, like, the shedding of old ways, preparing and planning. Now that Mars is going into Taurus, this is really this time to start breaking ground, right? This is really this time where we really start to get the meat and bones of things, right? And really start building things and getting on with it. So other things I can see with this Mars and Taurus is that it can cause stubbornness, and it can cause a lot of narrow-mindedness as well. Be careful of getting tunnel vision during this time and just focusing on one thing. There is a need to really kind of see the bigger picture here. So the next thing we're going to talk about is happening on the 10th of January. So we've got two things happening on the 10th of January. We have Mercury ingressing into Aquarius, and we've got Venus ingressing into Capricorn. So we're going to talk about Mercury first. So Mercury is going to go into Aqua, where it's going to retrograde at the end of the year. At the end of the month, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But Mercury's going to be in Aquarius for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 weeks. So he's gonna be in there for quite a while. Mercury's gonna be just kind of like chilling for 6 weeks. He's used to being very quick. He just kind of like goes in one. He breezes through each sign very quickly. So when he does go retrograde, and he has to chill out for 6 weeks, he kind of gets a little antsy, right? Wants to get moving. So Mercury is going to Oh, it's longer than that. It's 1, 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5, it's 6, it's 7, it's 8, it's 9, it's 10. Oh, right. Well, Mercury's in there for 11 weeks, guys. Let me correct myself. 11 weeks. So, Mercury's going to be in there for 11 weeks. It's a long time for Mercury to be in a sign. He likes to be in and out real quick. About 3 weeks. But it's going to be 11 in Aquarius. So, Mercury's going to retrograde in air signs all year this year, so it's going to be a different flavor. This Mercury retrograde, Mercury in Aquarius, this is going to be a very sociable aspect, right? Mercury is going to want us to kind of get out there and talk to people and spread ideas and what's the word? Kind of just socialize a lot with this Mercury and Aquarius aspect here. It's not bad, to be honest, especially in regards to if you're building something. This is a great aspect to be like building like a network. Like, yeah, it's a great thing to be networking, like especially when you're trying to like build something, or like yeah. That's what I'm going to say about that. So next we're going to move on to the Venus in Capricorn. So Venus is going to go into Capricorn. Venus actually goes into Capricorn twice this year. She's going to do the whole 12 and then back again by December. So it's going to be very interesting. So Venus is going to be in Capricorn on the 10th as well. She's going to be kind of bringing this she's going to be bringing this very business orientated vibe to the party, right? Venus is going to come to the party, so it's very interesting. Like Mars comes to the party, he brings like the builder mentality. Let's get this going, right? Let's get going. Let's make stuff happen. Mercury comes to the party. He's like, okay, well, let's do the social networking part. Let's build up our clientele. Let's do this, that, and the other. And then Venus comes to the party, right? Venus is all about love and beauty, but she's also about money. So she's going to be very business orientated. When she comes to this party, she's going to be standing there going, okay, right, now let's make sure that we're able to, afford all of this. Let's do the budgeting. Let's do this, this, and this, right? She's going to be very planned and very orientated in regards to the money aspect of things, more than the love aspect of things, right? She's going to look at things and go, what can I get out of that? She's not going to want to like just do things out of the kindness of her own heart. She's going to want to like get something back in return, right? So again, the beginning of January is a really good time to be starting businesses, guys. It's a really good time to be starting like, side hustles or whatever it is, right? Things to bring income, and it's a really good aspect at the beginning of the year to get this done or to get started on it, right? So next we've got on the 13th of January, we have the new moon in Capricorn. So this new moon, again, another very business orientated moon. It's going to be it's going to have a 10th house placement, obviously, because it's in Capricorn. So it's going to be another thing, very business orientated, guys. Very business orientated. It's going to want to look at not only our business, our career, where we're going to go, what our soul's calling is, getting things like that going, but it's also looking at social status kind of things, because 10th house is also your social status, right? It's how the internet perceives you. It's how people perceive you. It's all about that social standing aspect as well with this new moon in Capricorn. Also, this new moon in Capricorn will be occurring at 23 degrees of Capricorn. So please check that and see where that falls in your chart. I'll leave a link. I always leave a link in the description for your birth chart. So have a look and see where in your chart that falls, what house that falls in specifically, because then that is going to really showcase where this, or how this kind of 10th house kind of aspect is going to work for you. I think from memory this will be touching my 8th house, this moon. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of falls out. I always get a bit wary around a Capricorn moon because it always touches my 8th house, and I'm like, always get a little bit iffy because it's all about other people's money as well, right? 8th house, right, for me is all about other people's money as well, and I'm like, I was getting a little bit worried about that, but we'll see how this one turns out for me. Anyway, that's just an example. So yeah, like this Capricorn moon will be helping with the other aspects as well, especially if you're trying to build a business. It will be helping these aspects quite nicely with that build up of energy. So the next thing we have happens the next day on the 14th, and that is Uranus finally goes direct. So Uranus will be going direct at 6 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus goes, it's done its dash and its retrograde phase. It always does it around this time lately. So this is really looking at sorry, my nose is itchy. My nose is itchy and it's also a little stuffy, so it's annoying me right now. So this Uranus going direct, right? It really has been trying to show us how we manage our money, right? How we budget our money. Taurus rules the 2nd house, the house of money and possessions and things like that. So it really, every time it goes retrograde, it's showing us, how are we budgeting our money? How are we doing? How are we making our money, right? And is that okay, right? Uranus also likes to bring unexpected or unpredictable changes as well. So it likes to kind of like, shake things around a bit. So it really is very interesting to see kind of what comes out of this, right? With this Uranus finally going direct. Finally going to go direct, things going to kind of, what's the word? Not be so chaotic, I guess. Things are going to smooth off a little bit. They're going to not seem so harsh as well. Uranus will always bring the unpredictability factor, but it's just kind of dialing it down a little bit when it goes direct. That's the way I kind of see it anyway. It kind of dials it down a little bit. It's always going to be unpredictable, but it kind of dials it down a little bit when it goes direct finally. So we're going to move straight on. So moving on, we're going to go to the 19th of January. So on the 19th of January, the asteroid Vesta, who didn't retrograde last year, might I add, finally goes retrograde in the beginning of the year. So this year, all of the asteroid sisters, Vesta, Pallas, Juno, and Ceres, they're all going to go retrograde this year at differing points of the year. But Vesta's going to kick it off. So Vesta is going to finally kick things off, right? Vesta is all about your inner fire, right? It's all about it's all about looking and seeing where your soul's purpose is, right? What you want to dedicate your life to. She's also the goddess of the home and hearth as well. That's what she was named after. But mostly she's about, your soul's purpose, your soul's calling, where you want to go, where you, what's the word? Whether or not you're on the path you want, whether you're on the path you need to be on. When Vesta goes retrograde, she's kind of giving you that checkup, like, are you happy where you are right now? Are you, is everything okay, right? Have you learned the lessons that you were meant to learn previously? She's just kind of making sure that you're where you're meant to be, right? And she's retrograding in Virgo as well. So, you know, she's going to have the little checklist out there. She's going to want to tick off all the little boxes, making sure you've done everything you're meant to be doing. Or that you've learned everything you're meant to have learned as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a introspection phase there. Just kind of making sure that you're where you're comfortable being, or where you kind of have wanted to be. She's going to retrograde for about 3 months, right? She's going to retrograde until about April. She's going to retrograde... Oh, I need to give you that. She's going to retrograde at 21 degrees of Virgo, and she's going to retrograde into 6 degrees of Virgo. So it looks to see where 21 degrees of Virgo, 21 to 6 degrees of Virgo sits in your chart, what houses they sit in, you know, house or houses, depends. And see, you know, what house those sit in, to see kind of what flavour this might bring as well. Because, you know, retrogrades like to bring flavours depending on what the house is, right? Depends to see what exactly this checklist is going to be about specifically as well, right? This kind of introspection is going to be about as well. So that is that. We're going to move on from that. So next we're going to the sun. The sun makes its yearly ingress into Aquarius, so it'll be Aquarius's birthdays then. So that'll be good. So, happy birthday to my Aquariuses, and happy birthday to my Capricorns as well. It'll be your birthday while I'm filming this. So, yes, it's going to be a very interesting kind of energy shift. The sun's going to go out of hardworking Capricorn, very kind of like rule orientated, to Aquarius, right? More airy, more what's the word? Sociable as well. So it's going definitely. You might definitely feel a bit of an energetic shift then as well. On the 29th, we have the full moon in Leo. So the full moon in Leo is occurring at 9 degrees. It is 5th house energy. So I really do like Leo moons, especially Leo full moons or new moons. There is a lot of fun to be had with a Leo moon. 5th house energy is always fun anyway. It is the house of pleasures. So it's all about that recreational activities. It's all about like recreation and things like sports and crafts, creative self-expression, also things like games of chance, so things like gambling and things like that, although I do not condone that. Things to do with children and the contraception of them, so things like sex also. What else falls under 5th house? Drama, teaching, love affairs, dating also falls under 5th house as well. So again, it's going to be a very fun, you know, Leo moons tend to be very fun, right? They tend to be very, you know, what's the word? Exciting, I guess. Because they're all about that fun, right? They're all about what can we do to kind of unwind. What are we taking enough time to unwind for ourselves, right? Leo full moons especially, they're going to have quite a lot of fun aspects, right? A lot of people will go out and they'll have a good time during the Leo full moon. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting month. So the last aspect we're going to be talking about is Mercury. So on the 31st of January, Mercury is going to go retrograde. It's going to begin its retrograde journey in air signs this year. And so it's going to go retrograde at 26 degrees of Aquarius. and it will be retrograding all the way until February the 21st at 11 degrees of Aquarius. So she's going to be retrograde for a little bit. She does her usual thing every year. This one is going to be interesting. It's going to be 11th house retrograde. We've had them in water signs lately, so things have been, whenever Mercury goes retrograde in a water sign, it's been kind of like deep and heavy and emotional, and you kind of feel all over the place. I don't think it's going to feel like that because you're going to be in air signs now, so we're moving from the emotional body into like the mental space. So wouldn't be surprised if you're more confused than usual during this time, or you can't get your words out, or you can't think of the right word, or it's just going to be a lot of like, you can't get pen to paper or things like that. It's just going to be very like, it's just going to all be in the mental body, so it's going to be very, I guess is the best way to say it. You may find a lot of people come back into your life, like friends and old groups you used to hang out with, and things like that, because it's going to be 11th house, so it's going to be your friendship, it's going to be your friendship circles and your community groups and things like that. You may kind of come back out of the wood, they may come back out of the woodwork back into your life, and you're going to have to sit there and go, hi, this is very nostalgic and cool, but you may have to kind of push a lot of it, go, oh, that's not me anymore. So things like that are still going to happen. Mercury's still going to affect short local travel, vehicles, big purchases, anything with a contract. It's still going to affect all of that, right? That's never going to change because it's Mercury. But it's the Aquarius aspect that's going to be a little different because it's going to be an air sign, not a water sign. So, yes. That is pretty much wrapping up January for 2021. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.